I was 14 years old, and it was a beautiful Saturday. It was one of those days where it finally felt like spring was winning that tug of war with winter. The sun felt nice on your skin. You could smell fresh cut lawns in the air. And so my brother and I, we were on the back patch of our townhouse complex. We lived in this L-shaped townhouse complex. It was a low-rise, low-income area. And in the back, we had this large soccer field-like grass area. And so we were out there, we're kicking the ball around, just enjoying this beautiful day. And no one else was out back except for this young girl. She was about 7 or 8 years old. And she was off doing her own thing. But as time went on, she got closer and closer until I could finally make out her face. And she had these bright blue eyes poking out of these chubby little cheeks on her face. And so I stopped the ball under my foot and I kicked it towards her. And she watched it roll by and I said, "Go ahead, get the ball." And so she hesitantly grabbed the ball and kicked it back to me. And then before we knew it, she had warmed up and we were running around with her and she's laughing. We're having a great time. And then we heard this yelling. I wasn't sure. It was someone was calling a name and I couldn't hear it at first. And the second time I heard it was Hannah. And then I realized that this young girl's name was Hannah. And so she stopped and she answered her mother, who was standing on the back of her porch. And she said, "Yes, Mom." And her mom said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "I'm just playing with the Packies." Now, she got called away. We continued playing. And I mean, my brother and I, no one talked about it, but it's always stayed with me. And that thought has stayed with me and the anger that I have has stayed with me. And it's not because of what was said. It was not because of me or what she had said towards me. It was more because I felt angry at the parents for teaching this young child at her most impressionable age about disconnection, about difference, about better and worse. And so I held on to this anger for many years until recently I actually came across this Buddhist story. And the story really quickly is there's this young man walking down the road and another man throws a stone and hits him. And so the young man that gets hit goes to his Buddhist teacher and he's angry. And the Buddhist teacher says, "Why are you angry?" He says, "Well, I'm angry with that man who hit me with the stone." And the Buddhist teacher says, "Well, why aren't you angry with the stone?" And the man says, "Well, I'm not angry with the stone because it's an inanimate object and it had no intention of hitting me. I'm angry at that man." And then the Buddhist teacher says, "Well, with that logic, you shouldn't be angry at the man. You should be angry with his pain." Wow. I mean, that really, really, really opened up my mind, especially to the situation. I actually saw Hannah's mother as a little child being taught disconnection, maybe being taught better, worse. And I was able to see the world from her eyes, through her eyes for a little bit and see that not everyone sees the world through my lens. It was quite an impactful story. And I think there's a lot of lessons in that story. But for me, the biggest lesson was coming from compassion and unconditional kindness, even in the face of insults or even when someone throws a stone at you, can be very powerful. And so I've created a mantra that every time I leave the home now, I say this to myself. I said, today I'm going to come from unconditional kindness and compassion. And then I think, imagine if we had a world where we all left the house and thought, today I'm going to come from compassion and unconditional kindness. Imagine if we could show kindness when someone throws a stone at us or directs an insult to us. Imagine if we can show compassion, understanding, and then send kindness their way. Today I will come from compassion and unconditional kindness.